I'm Sydney, and here I am with Representative Sanford. And so our first question is, how did you get started on your path serving for our state?
Well, first of all, I was a teacher in Stanley and then a principal and ended up being a superintendent in Grand Forks for a number of years. So I would call that my first stint as service to the state. But in terms of legislature, when I left the school business in Grand Forks, I was approached about running, and it sounded like a good idea, things that I could probably bring some experience to, so that's what got me started.
That's cool. So how long have you served for the North Dakota legislature?
I am in my 7th year, and I serve on the Appropriations Committee in the House of Representatives. So we are the committee where all of the budgets, all of the money decisions are being made.
So how can students be more involved with the North Dakota government?
You know, I think this is a good example right here, what's going on today. We have students all over here who are demonstrating what's happening in schools. I think that it's also an opportunity for us to hear from students about what's working from their perspective. So I think this is the kind of thing, just being present, writing to your legislators. I get a lot of emails from constituents, and many of them are from students, and I really appreciate that.
So since you're on the budget committees, what issues do you feel most strongly about?
Well, interestingly, today we are going to do the K-12 budget. So we are talking about the budgets that affect our schools across the state of North Dakota. As you know, we have some budget issues because of the downturn in the economy. But one of the things we are trying very hard to do is not cut K-12. That is not going to happen. And so today will be a big day as we make those decisions and try and finish that particular budget. So our goal is to leave the per pupil payments the same, to provide transportation, all of the services. There probably will not be much new money, but everybody else is getting reduced. And K-12, I think, is going to be held at the same level that they were.
That's good to hear. So since you were superintendent of schools, and do you feel that helps you with making decisions about certain things such as this
That's a great
issue?
question. I think there's a real carryover. One of the things I had to do as superintendent was come down to Bismarck and represent Grand Forks whenever there was legislation that dealt with the schools. So I think I got from that I received a background in obviously the education part, but mainly also about how to work with legislators and how the process works. So when I got here, I think I had the advantage of knowing a little bit more about process and could jump right into the job.
So did you ever think you were going to be a representative for North Dakota?
You know, I never really thought about it much, but I have to tell you that growing up, my grandparents came here from Norway. And when we would go to Sunday dinner at grandparents, that's mainly what they talked about. What an honor it was to be in America, how this government worked, and how fortunate we were. And so I did get reminders and pep talks frequently on those Sunday dinners out on the farm about this was really an important job.
So say someone wants to go into this, would you say that there are any previous jobs or college degrees that would help you?
You know, I think that obviously the background you bring is important. One of the exciting things for me is we have what we call the Kitty Corps here. We've got 3 representatives and senators that are under 25 years of age. In fact, I think one of them is 20. And it's just wonderful to have them because they can represent college students. They can also bring a fresh perspective, particularly in technology. I mean, they're whizzes, and some of us can use that assistance that they provide. So I think it's a willingness to work hard, and that's the key trait to bring.
So on technology, how do you implement a lot of technology into this, legislator, representatives?
I think you would be really impressed with the way technology is utilized in the legislature. Somebody like myself, I can go on my computer and I just push the laws button, and I have all of the laws, all of the bills, all of the materials right at my hand, and so it works really well. Yeah, I think it's up to date and excellent.
Cool. So, looking around at like this technology here, what do you think about all of this new stuff?
I'm excited about this. When I was superintendent, one of the things we did in Career and Tech Ed was have a massive infusion of technology into the program, particularly in middle schools. And so the middle schools were the first places that were using these learning labs and so on, and that goes back quite a few years. So I'm glad to see that this is next generation. It modernizes. It's the right way to go, and so really pleased to have all these students here today and to see this up-to-date material that they're using.
Do you see a lot of things like this, like a lot of students in the Capitol, or?
You know, we have about 3 days a week where we have visitors and we have a special event like this going on in the Capitol. And yesterday, day before, we had the manufacturers group from North Dakota. Very impressive what's going on in terms of what's being manufactured. You know, in Grand Forks, we've got the wind blades, and we've got other pieces that are being manufactured across the state that were represented. And of course, one of them that was one of my favorites was Baker Boy, because they gave us a big bag of donuts, and so I went home with my dessert for the evening.
Cool. Do you ever second guess yourself, like regarding the way you voted on a bill?
That is a great question. I just think you're going to face many times where you walk away and you say, I'm not sure I did the right thing, but it really comes down to you've got to study the bill, and ultimately, sometimes it's just your best thinking at the moment. And so I second guess myself.
How much time do you find that you spend like writing bills, looking at them, debating them?
Well, I was here this morning at 6 o'clock, and I probably will get back to my rented condo tonight about 9 o'clock.
And is it like that mostly every day?
It is, thankfully on Fridays, we get done about 3 o'clock, and then I have to drive home to Grand Forks. So, but otherwise they're long days. So
speaking of time, I think that's about as much as we have. So thank you for being interviewed.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. This is wonderful to see all these young people.
Thank you.